Welcome back to part 3 of Spend Less. That's our topic for the Advent Conspiracy this week. And if we have understood clearly from God's Word that consumerism and materialism and greed are very dangerous for Christ followers, and that, as we mentioned yesterday, that we need to resist the pressure of the culture because the culture is trying to draw us into that, and the culture is saturated with that. The culture is on an expressway of consumerism, and we're right there going the same speed right along with everyone else. And if as Christ followers, we need to let off the accelerator, resist the pressure of the culture. That's the first point. The second point now is we need to reduce the amount that we spend on Christmas. See, that's the key practical part. That's the hinge of this talk, Spend Less, is actually reducing the price that you spend. Now, I've stated this already, but I want to state it again just to be clear. Being wealthy and having things is not a sin. And being broke and having nothing is not a virtue, because you can be greedy and you can be discontented and you can be overwhelmed with the desire for stuff, whether you're wealthy or poor. It doesn't matter exactly how much you have. There's a secret that the Apostle Paul gives us insight into, that whether you're wealthy or whether you're broke, that you can stay focused on Christ this Christmas season and not be consumed with greed. Paul says this in Philippians 4, 11 through 13. I'll read just part of it. I know what it is to be in need, Paul says, and I know what it is to have plenty. By the way, Paul was at one point in his life a very wealthy person. He was an aristocrat, well educated and all of that. So he says, I know what it is to be in need. I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned, get this, the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. Did you catch that? There's a secret to it. The secret isn't have more money so you won't need more stuff. The secret isn't give everything away and live in poverty. That's not the secret. Because whether you have a lot or you don't, the secret is to be content. Paul states it again when we go back to our key passage in 1 Timothy 6, in 1 Timothy 6, verse 6. But godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out of it. But if we have food and clothing, we'll be content with that. And Paul is saying here, he's using a very general sense that if you have what you need to live and survive and be somewhat comfortable, then anything else you get is gravy. That's fine. It's great if you can have it, if it's not eating you, if it's not consuming you, if it's not overwhelming your life, if it's not distracting you from Christ. It doesn't matter if you have a lot or a little. If you have your necessities, anything else is great. It's extra. It's fine. And so a way to demonstrate that for us, especially in this Christmas season, to resist the pressure of the culture and reduce the price that we spend, that's how we're going to demonstrate that we're actually going to spend less on Christmas. Now, I know that's an ambiguous request. Spend less. Well, how much is less? Less than I did last year? Probably. Most definitely. Reduce the price to below what the average is. Most people, they say, spend about $1,000 on Christmas. Yeah, probably. That's probably too much for you. But maybe some key thoughts to help you have some ideas of how to spend less. Definitely, probably spend less than you did last year. But maybe focus more on needs instead of want. If there's things you need, clothes you need, things that your children need, let those become part of the gift exchange. We came across a neat little challenge a few weeks ago, my wife and I, and it was to request 4 things for Christmas. And one of the little cutouts that it read this way: to get a want, a need, a wear, and a read. Kind of a nice way you can remember it. A want, a need, a wear, a read. And so you can get something that you want, just something frivolous, extravagant, something you just really don't need but want. Something that you need. You need a new coat, you need a new pair of shoes, something like that. A wear, so maybe a nice outfit, a nice coat, something that you're going to put to use, and something to read, to be a part of a better learning person. And I think that's a great idea. You don't have to do it. It's something that helps it keep definitive how to spend less. I'm just going to buy these things. But no matter what you do, my ultimate challenge for you is when you're spending less this Christmas, is whatever you do, please don't go into debt over Christmas. To me, that is the most ridiculous thing for a Christ follower to do, to put themselves deeper in debt just so they can have more stuff. I'm going to strongly encourage you not to do that. Because if you are having to go into debt for Christmas, you are, my friend, spending too much. So here's what you need to do. Most of you have probably already bought some gifts. That's great. I know you're going to enjoy giving them, and gifts have been bought for you. You're going to enjoy receiving them. But I want you to be strategic about this. When you're planning on spending less, maybe predetermine how much you're going to spend. Or better, predetermine the amount of gifts you're going to give along with that, so that you will be not conforming to the pressures of this world, but you're being transformed, undermining, conspiring against this cultural push to spend, spend, spend. Spend a little less this Christmas.